Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, I want to talk about building the life that you desire. And in talking about building the life that you desire, we have to also take a look at the places in life and the things that are in our lives that we don't desire. We have to consider the thought of how did I get here? How is this a thing for me? You know, I have been in circumstances or I've been in situations before where I have not cared for the results of a particular circumstance or a particular situation. I'll give you an example. The other day, I had my gym bag and I had some protein, and it was chocolate protein that I had in the bag. And before I threw the protein in the bag after I had finished it, I didn't complete it all, and I didn't really check the top to make sure that it was screwed on correctly. So I threw it in my bag, and through the hustle and the bustle of me grabbing the bag and pulling it around, evidently, somehow or another, a little bit of the protein had spilled out, and it was chocolate. Now, I have a white bedspread. I love white. White is one of my favorite colors. I love white linens. I love white bedspreads. If everything in my house could be white, I would just love it. And I threw my bag, my gym bag, when I got home on my bedspread. Later on, when I was going to clean up my space, and I went to go pick the bag up, I noticed that there was a dark brown stain on my white bedspread, and it didn't look too appealing. And in that moment, I had to run, and I had to grab some cleaning agents, and I had to feverishly try to scrub the dark stuff out. I eventually did get it out, but it was a lot of work, and it stopped some of my progress from doing something else that I really needed to do. And in that moment, I sat there and I thought about how the actions that I took leading up to this moment actually were the things that could have prevented me from being in that particular predicament. So many times in life, we deal with the aftermath of a circumstance or a situation. And we don't always realize that the result of where we are is a result of our decisions, our choices, and the lack thereof, the inability to do things that we should do properly, or the ability to do the things that we should do even when we don't feel like it. That there are always going to be reactions to the actions that we take. There are always going to be some form of action from the choices and the decisions that we make, and the choices and the decisions that we choose not to make in our life. And if you are in a place that you are loving where things are going and you are satisfied with where things are going, then that means that the actions that you took in that place and to get to that place are actions that you would want to continue in order to see the continuation of your sustained progress. And to the contrary, if you are sitting in a place that you don't necessarily like the result of where you are, and you feel that you should be at a different place, you feel that your life should have progressed beyond the point of where you are, then that means that there have to be some new decisions, some new choices, and some new actions that you're going to have to take in order to see the life that you ultimately want to live. So many times we do the same thing over and over again, and we expect different results. So many times we are careless with the decisions that we make, and we are careless with how we handle or deal with people, and we don't recognize that that carelessness is going to play out in a further moment, or a moment that has not come in our life, and those are going to be the results that we are going to have to deal with. My grandmother used to make this statement, and she used to say, "You've made your bed, now you have to lie in it." And so many times I don't think that we recognize when we're making the bed that that bed is made with the actions that we take. That bed is made with the continual actions that we take day after day after day after day. If you're looking to grow friendships, then we must first be friendly. If you're looking to grow in business and if you're looking to grow in your finances, then maybe there are some habits or some actions that you have been taking that maybe need to alter a little bit so that you can see yourself in a new realized state. I was reading the scripture this morning that really stuck out to me in Matthew chapter 7, verse number 24. And it says, therefore, whoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man that built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Sometimes we have to build our actions upon the principles that we desire to see come into fruition in our life. You know, I think about how many times people build their businesses or relationships, or they build their companies, or they build their families upon the principles of pride. They build it upon arrogance. They build it upon jealousy. They build it upon playing games. They build it upon so many different things. And then when the results of the circumstance don't work out the way that you anticipated it, or when things begin to fall apart, then the house in itself, it begins to crumble. Many times we're sitting in the middle of a crumbled situation. Maybe today you are sitting in the middle of a crumbled relationship. Maybe you are sitting today in the middle of a crumbled place of employment. Maybe you are sitting today in a crumbled family. Maybe you are sitting today in a crumbled health crisis. Maybe you're sitting today in some circumstance financially that you are sitting in ruins and the whole house has collapsed. And you're frustrated and you're angry and you're trying to figure out why things just don't work for you. And the truth is, things do work if you work them. And it did work. It just didn't yield the results that you thought you would have had at this point, which means that maybe what you're building your house upon, maybe that foundation is not sturdy. I'm a firm believer that when we show up in truth and in honesty, when you lead from a place of goodness and good intentions and positive intent, that when your life matches the values, the things that you say and the things that you do, regardless to what is put in front of you, when it is always standing firm on the foundation, then the result that happens after that point is a result that you can have pride of living with, of saying, I did that. You know, I can't think of how many times I have had friendships that I have leaned into having difficult or hard conversations, and where I wanted to avoid the uncomfortability of the conversation, I realized that if I am going to truly live authentically to the values and to the principles that I have, that foundation, that anything that I lose as of a result of me standing in truth and standing on my principles, it was not aligned with me and it was not necessary for me to run after it. Friends, I think that so many times we are tested. We are tested by the winds of life. We are tested by the rains of life. But continue to build your house on the right principles. Continue to build your life on truth. Continue to build your life on showing love. I can't think of how many times I have shown love or kindness to someone where I have allowed them maybe to go in front of me in a line and they didn't turn around and say thank you. And it was no skin off of my back because I could walk away and I could say, I did the right thing. That was on them. But the foundation that I built my life on, the actions that I choose to take of showing that goodness, of showing that kindness, of leaning into those uncomfortable spaces, it creates this character inside of me that I know that things will always work out in my favor. You see, when you are building your house on the right foundation, that foundation will stand through any test. When you have built your relationships on the right foundation, those relationships will stand through any test. And if the relationship is not standing, and if the house is not standing, and if the friendship is not standing, and if the job is not standing, it will not be because you did not build it upon the right principles. So you can walk away with a renewed and a fresh mind of saying, I did the right thing. And in doing the right thing, the thing that maybe I didn't want to happen did happen, but maybe it was aligning me with the truth of what God really has for me. I do not believe that you can continue to do the right thing and not be led to the right place. When you constantly do the right actions over and over and over again, you are led away from some things that probably would take away from you. And you are guided towards things that are going to pour back into you for everything that you have given out. I think that so many times we get stuck in the crossfire of trying to make things work that God is trying to remove from us, that we see that as us needing to change who we are and how we show up. I cannot tell you how many times I have sat back and I have questioned because I have forgiven someone, or I have been kind to someone or loving to someone, and they have shown me the other side of them that wasn't so loving, that wasn't so kind, and I've walked away questioning, well, maybe I should not have done that. But then there's something that rises up inside of me and says, no, you should have remained under the character of who you are as an individual, and don't allow the world to change you to be like them. Don't allow people that are dishonest to change you to be like them. Don't allow people who are prideful and that are arrogant to make you change to be like them. Don't allow the practices of the company to make you be like them, but you continue to stand on your values and your truth. And every door that you walk into, you make space, and God has made space for you. Friends, sometimes it can be very difficult, especially in this world where everyone does things by their feelings and by their emotions, and they lead with fear, they lead with anger, they lead with bitterness, they lead with malice, they lead with jealousy, they lead with insecurity. It can be so difficult to not allow those things to seep inside of your house and begin to tear down your foundation. But when you stand on love, and when you stand on truth, when you stand on doing the right thing, even in the wrong places, when you stand on continuing to show up and let your light shine, I believe that the space and room is made for you. Now, all of the time, you cannot see it in the moment. And sometimes it can feel extremely difficult, and it can seem extremely hard to stand on the truth and the values that you have believed are right. It can be hard to hold fast to speaking up and leaning into uncomfortable conversations and leading from a place of caring about another individual. It can be hard in this world and in this current culture. But I believe that if you continue to do those things, you are led into green pastures. You are led into a harvest of plenty. You are led by God into places of extreme abundance. That there's no way that you can sow the right seeds. There's no way that you can continue to plant good things into this earth and not reap back the harvest of the things that you have sown. What goes up must come down. We certainly always reap whatever it is that we sow. And so maybe you saying to me today, I've been sowing, I've been doing it, and people keep hurting me. Well, sometimes God allows the people to hurt you to show you that that's not the direction that you want to go. Sometimes God will allow the people to hurt you so that you can be a joint heir to his suffering. But if you can suffer with him, then certainly you will reign with him. That if you weep for maybe just a night, that joy does come in the morning. There is always another side to everything that you have done. The key is to keep going and not allow where you are and what you are experiencing to shake your foundation. But even if it does shake your foundation, you will still stand and you will still see everything that God has for you. Nothing that you have experienced up to this point is going to stop God from doing what he's going to do in your life. No person that you've lost, no person that has dismissed you or talked about you or tried to harm you or hurt you, no person that has planned anything against you can prosper against you and the plans that God has for your life. For indeed, there will come a day where you will be paid back for all of the love that you have put out, for all of the goodness that you have put out. You know, I was having a conversation with my niece earlier today, and I was expressing to her that, sometimes it can be so hard to show love. It can be so hard to do the right thing. It can be hard to be kind to people that are not always kind to you. But at the end of the day, one, we make an impact on those individuals when we continue to do that. But I also believe that when we show others grace, that God will then in turn show us grace in our time of need. I believe that sometimes it can be hard in the heat of a moment to not respond with negativity when someone is hurling something hurtful at you. It can be hard to raise your standard and your vibration and to raise the place where you speak from. But we are reminded countless numbers of times when we read the scriptures that persecution only sets you up to be blessed. We are reminded time and time again that when people talk about you, that it just puts you in a better position. We are reminded time and time again, especially in Matthew chapter 5, that blessed is the peacemaker. We are reminded time and time again that those little works that you have done and that you do, those little seeds that you sow, that those things do come back in the season that you need it the most. So for someone today that may be sitting in the place of saying, I keep doing the right thing, but the wrong things keep happening. I want you to change your language just a little bit. You keep doing the right thing, and good things are going to find you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all of the days of your life. The only thing that's happening that you may feel as though is wrong is God revealing to you the places and the people that maybe you need to move away from. Maybe God is ordering your steps and he's allowing those people to do those things so that you can move into a new position. And I know it's hard to let go at times, but the benefit is in trusting the plan that God has for your life and moving with the flow that God is orchestrating things before you. Truly, friends, if you build your house on the right foundation, it will stand. And that house will be filled with goodness. That house will be filled with the good deeds. It can be hard to lean into the right thing, but I have learned that nothing grows when it's comfortable. That it takes for you to lean into something uncomfortable and to have the courage to continue to be the person that you are called to be, despite what people do, despite what people say. Don't give them the power to change who you are or how you show up. Payday is coming. after a while. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this message has fired you back up to remember that it's always right to be good. That if you build your house on the right foundation, then it will stand the test of time. And that in the end, you will always win. If you need prayer today, just simply say in the comments, I need prayer. And our team prays every Thursday at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we would love to pray for you and for your family. Please do me a favor today. Click the link that is in the bio. Every one of you, go click the link that's in the bio and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, for those that continue to partner with me and continue to sow to me every single week, I am praying for you each morning at 5 o'clock a.m. I get up and I start praying for you. And I pray that God would show you favor in whatever area you are standing in need of. Thank you for joining me today. I love you. Stand on the firm foundation. God bless you.